Asah Dudes, Jake here. Today we're back with another episode on the 92 F1 build. In today's video, we're going to be putting the whole rear of the truck back together. If you remember in the last video, we had Dallas spray the back of the cab and we got everything painted back here. We started reassembling some of the stuff, like the sway bar arm is on here, and we got the bump stops in and tightened down, and then the limit straps are just hanging on there. We're still waiting on the stuff from powder coat and Line-X, but in the meantime, Christian's going to start coating some stuff with Steel It, like the fuel cell hold down, so that way we can get the fuel cell back in and all mounted. And then once that hold down is all sprayed and mounted, we can get the trans cooler back on there as well. So that's what we're going to be doing right now, just working on some little odds and ends before the main pieces get back. If you remember us masking off all the springs, we took the painter's tape back off there and they look really good, just seeing the little gold springs on there. Looks way better than if we were just to paint it black. So I'm glad we did that despite it taking probably an hour to mask all these off. We also picked up a whole case of Steel It. I know I've mentioned this stuff a couple times, but I kind of just want to talk about what it is. As you can see on the can right here, it says stainless steel in a can, 100% stainless steel pigment. And that's because it's actual stainless steel flakes that's going onto your material. It's not like a normal paint, it's actual metal. And what's cool about that is that it allows you to actually weld through it. So if we wanted to add a tab to anything that's already coated in Steel It, we wouldn't have to prep it and grind it down. We'd just be able to weld right through it. And the way that this stuff bonds to actual materials is really nice. As you can see on here, it's a nice smooth coat. It honestly looks like powder coat. So if you're looking for an alternative to just doing paint, but you don't want to powder coat something, I highly recommend this stuff. So with that, it's time to start getting some stuff coated and Steel It and getting the back of this thing back together. So dudes, we just got back from powder coat and Line-X. We actually went to powder coat off camera, but we picked up all the panels and the skid plates that we sent down there. Christian and I just started mocking up some of the panels back on the truck and getting them in place, and I gotta say it looks super good. We went with the satin black on all the paneling. That's because we were running the satin black paint. So it has some gloss, but it's not too much, and I think it's gonna look super good once this whole thing's back together. We also started mocking up some of the stuff from Line-X. Here's the front bedside support right here. And as you can see, Dallas got right to the edge with this line on the Line-X, and it looks super good. You don't see any raw metal that's sliding into this tube right here. So that came out really good. Dallas did a super good job with that stuff. Here's the front bumper as well. We had Dallas do it in Line-X, and then the skid plate and the top plate right here, we got in that satin black powder coat. So it's kind of black on black with the powder coat and Line-X, and it's gonna look super good once it's actually on the truck. Here's the housing that we sent down there. As I was talking about, we got the front side coated in the Line-X, and that's just for any rocks or anything that's gonna come up and hit the housing. It's not gonna chip away the Steel It. So we just have that as a protective measure, and it came out super clean. Dallas did a good job on this as well. So now that everything's back from being coated, it can start going back on the truck. It's gonna be kind of like a domino effect determining what can go on. For instance, right here, we can't put these panels on till the trans lines are in because we want to have room to route those and zip tie them down to some tubes. but then we can't put the lines in until the transcooler's on. So stuff like that, it's just gonna be a domino effect. But for the most part, we have everything completed. It's just a matter of putting it all together. Unfortunately, it's gonna be mostly Christian putting the back half of this thing together in the next few days, because I got finals starting on Monday, so I really gotta be studying for those. But with that, Christian can start putting this thing back together and getting it all complete. Study. As you guys saw from the last couple clips, we did get the housing in. The lower links, upper links are in. Limit straps are attached to the housing now. We got the sway bar in. I still need to shank this hardware. I need to cut the bolts down a little bit, but that's in. I can just take those bolts out one by one now. Today I'm going to be working on getting the calipers back on the housing, also getting the hard lines back on here. I have the trunk lid out here getting touched up. This is going to go on today as well. My brother masked off all these springs. Ooh, focus. Masked off all these springs. So you're going to see all the gold springs on the steelite color, so that should look good. So this thing's going back together slowly but surely. So dudes, hope you guys enjoyed that little montage. Like normal, I'm gonna go back and kind of walk you through everything and go into a little bit more detail. So here's what we're working with back here. We got the rear panels on. We're not gonna put the front ones on until the wiring's done because we want the guy to be able to get in here and wire things to like the rear tail lights and stuff like that. So those are gonna stay off for now. We got this single-sided foam tape on here. If you're wondering where we got that, it's from Amazon. It's just like it's literally a single-sided like high density foam, and it's 1/2 inch wide, 1/4 inch thick. They come with a whole bunch of different sizes. So if you're curious, go on Amazon, that's where that's gonna be. The shocks are in and the truck's on its own weight right now, but they're gonna have to come back out because the spring rate on them is wrong. There's gonna be another around 500 pounds back here in fuel in the spare tire. And so that's gonna sag the truck out a lot more. And right now, these springs are already where they need to be, so that's not gonna be any good. We're gonna have to go with a higher spring rate. So those are gonna have to come back out and get resprung at some point. Other than that, we have a few things starting to get tight in here, like the sway bar arm. It's everything, all the bolts are tight on here. The bump stops in there are all tight. We are gonna have to replace the bushing for the sway bar actually, because this moves around inside this tube a little bit. So we're gonna have to get a bigger bushing. The axle's all in, as well as the links. We got the brake lines on there as well, and everything is tight. We also made, if you can see it, one more hose, and that's for the breather tube. So that's all made, and the breather tube's completely done for the axle. We're gonna come in here, and on the Camberg logo, we're gonna paint that. I'm not gonna kind of reveal the color right away, but you'll see that in the next video. So we're gonna be painting that. It'll be pretty cool. I think it'll go along with the truck pretty well. The trunk's looking super good. I'm liking how it's coming out. I like the kind of all black theme. These batteries aren't in there tight. The brackets are on there pretty loose. And that's because they're gonna have to come, at least one of them's gonna have to come back out at some point to power the winch to pull this thing on the trailer for the truck to go to wiring. So those are just sitting in there loose right now. These oil containers are all in there tight, as well as the skid plates all tight. So that's just kind of our trunk area. Other things like the jack mounts all bolted in, that's done. The transcooler is completely tight. The fuel system's all tight as well. All these are in, as well as the fuel breather. And this is the axle breather for the housing right here. And as you can see, we also got all the fuel lines in there. That's all tucked in there pretty clean. We got them all zip tied together. This is gonna be tightened down a little bit more with some more zip ties. But again, foam tape over here, no panel. That's pretty much it for the back. It's all painted and all together. Oh, we have the light bar as well, that's in there. You can see the little strut over there that we made. The reason the one it's not in on this side is because we're gonna have to tap it a little bit because the bolt didn't want to go through. So once that's tapped, that'll be able to go in, and then the light bar will be complete. We didn't dive into too many things up front. The main part was getting this front bumper on, and that's just a couple of bolts, but I really like how this came out. Christian and I are pretty happy with the kind of Line-X on the powder coat theme. And we used all 12 point on the bumper just because it's kind of a baller little thing that we did. The grill I put on as well. I'm not sure if that's gonna have to come back off, but we just put it up there to kind of see how things look on the truck. I was messing with this. We're thinking about adding a little custom plate right here to go with the fender, because the fender comes down and hangs down like 2 inches right here. So we don't want it to just stop there. We kind of want it to flow into the front of the truck a little bit. So those are just some theories that we're kind of testing right now. And then if we like it, we'll decide to make them and put them on the truck. Here's the dash that you kind of saw us taking out at the end of those clips. The reason we have to take this out is because it has to go get wrapped, and that's going to be happening soon. Christian also drilled another hole for a push to talk, as well as another kind of rectangle for another switch pros. So this dash is completely ready to be wrapped now, and that's why it's out. So next time you see this, it'll probably be wrapped. It's pretty dark under here, but you can kind of see the Line-X on the bottom of the links, as well as on the front of the housing over there. We're kind of pioneering these series. Nobody really has Line-X on the bottom of their links or on the front of the housing. We just wanted to do it as a protective measure. Same reasoning behind the Line-X on the back of the cab. There's going to be a lot of sand and rocks coming and hitting the housing and the bottom of the lower links. Our friend actually has just rattle can on his housing, and on the front side, it's literally like it's been sandblasted. It's all raw. So we wanted to do this is just another protective measure, and it came out really clean as well. Christian's welding in the O2 bungs right now, and once that's done, the full exhaust can go back on the truck. Everything's going to be ready. I had someone asking me about the motor setup that we have in the truck. I know I haven't really talked about it. I think maybe only one video. We're running an LS1, all aluminum block. It's just an LS hot cam in there. And then for the trans, it's a recased Turbo 400 built by Maximum Transmissions. The motor's pretty simple, it's just a cam. We might do something bigger in the future, but for now, that's what we're running. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video. We got a lot done on the back half of the truck. Christian and I are really excited on how everything's coming out. Just a few huge shout outs to LineX San Diego. I know I said National City in one of the last videos, but it's LineX San Diego. They're located in National City. So huge shout out to Dallas over there. Another huge shout out to Anacoat Powder Coating. They're located in Miramar. They did all the powder coating on the truck and they did a really good job. So that's another good option for you. I'm not 100% sure what's going to be going on in the next video on this thing. The truck is basically ready for wiring at this point. The only thing that's holding us up is getting that dash wrap before it goes there. And that's pretty much it. The cab's going to have to get painted at some point as well as all the bedsides and the front fenders. But we can start prepping for paint right now, but I'm not sure if we're going to do that before wiring. But until next video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.